We're going to start this talk by thinking about the most important skill of the advocate, and that, of course, is listening. When you meet with somebody, they are bringing to you their hopes, their fears, their concerns, their ambitions, their goals, everything that's important to them. We have to be present in order to hear what they're saying and also to be present so that we hear what they're not saying. Listening is a full body experience, isn't it? We need to be careful that we are open hearted when we listen to our partner. And in doing so, bring attitudes such as being non judgmental and accepting what the person's saying. I also want to flag up that one of the biggest barriers I come across when I listen and when I talk to other advocates and they're listening is this desire to fix. And if you're a fixer like me, it can be really difficult to try and avoid to make things right there and then. When we do that, we're not actually listening, we're trying to make it better. Now, there's a time and a place for that when the person says, what do we do? How can I improve this? What's the route? What are my rights? That's the time to bring that type of problem solving energy. But until the person says that, try and avoid fixing and kind of rushing ahead with, oh, we need to do this and strategizing. That's always getting in the way of listening and being truly present. And what we're listening for is what is at the heart of what the person wants, what matters to them, what values do they have. How can I help that person express these so that the decision makers are able to understand them? It always starts with being present and listening. The second most important skill of an advocate is how to support your partner to make a choice. Now, most people, when they come to advocacy, will have some idea about what it is that they want. But you'll find that there are times when people don't really have clarity on the goal. They just know that something's not right, or they know that something needs to be better. Your job as an advocate is to think, what information does my partner need in order to make choices? Now, this could be about accessing information in ways that make sense to the person. So, think about augmented communication, pictures, images, symbols, even Lego. But it also means about experiences. So, if you're an advocate helping somebody make a decision about where to live, don't show them pictures. Take them to the care home or to the provision that's being suggested. Help them to experience what it is that the choice actually is. And what we call this is supported decision making. And it's a really important approach and activity that you'll be doing as an advocate. So when you're coming to your advocacy and you're thinking, how do I advocate with this person? Think, what information, what experiences, how can I ensure that this person's accessing them so that they can make the choices that's right for them? Speaking up is included in the definition of advocacy. So that's going to give you a clue at how important the practical skill of being able to speak up with and speak up on behalf of your partner. Now, you'll notice I separated that into two components, speaking up with and speaking on behalf of. Many advocates find it easier to speak up on behalf of and do representational advocacy. And there's nothing wrong with that. Lots of people want you to say what they want on their behalf. And I've been in lots of sessions and meetings where the person's looked at me as if to say, will you say something? Will you speak up? That's fine. However, when we do that and we rush to speaking up on behalf of a person, what we can do inadvertently is de-skill and take away that person's power. A fundamental starting point in advocacy is always to think about self-advocacy. How do I help my partner to say the things they want to say in ways they want to say it? That might mean preparing, practicing, and almost rehearsing what it is that the person wants to say before a big meeting. It's about using their words and hearing for the little nuances in how people describe things. So speaking up is and always will be a fundamental skill in advocacy. We're going to finish thinking about challenging and the skill of being able to challenge. I'm going to start with an acknowledgement that this is difficult. Naturally, most people want to fit in. Most of us want to be liked, and most of us want kind of social cohesion and acceptance in our relationships. There's nothing wrong with that. That then presents difficulties when we have to go against the grain and challenge the status quo or challenge decisions and even challenge people. As an advocate, we have to be comfortable from the very beginning with this idea of challenge. And I want to say that disagreements are perfectly normal. And I think I say that in my advocacy practice maybe once a week. I'll say to professionals, it's okay to disagree. I think sometimes we get caught up in this idea of win, lose. I have to be right, you have to be wrong. I think there's a skill in advocacy about bringing an acknowledgement that actually disagreements are perfectly fine, perfectly normal. And all that means is that different people have different ideas about what's going on. As an advocate, though, your role is to be absolutely 100% on the side of your partner. And if they are unhappy with something or a process, a decision, a situation, anything, that's what you're there to raise and say with them and on their behalf. And I'll end with the idea that skilled advocates, I think, tend to take this away from personal. They tend to take it away from I'm challenging the person and instead think about challenging the decision or the outcome or the process. And when you become like a truth seeker and you're trying to shine a light on things, even if it's as simple as the person's truth, this is what they experience, this is what they believe, this is what they need, it kind of becomes a little bit easier. So lean into challenge and grab any opportunity you can to practice this skill of challenging. Thank you for listening to this short talk on 4 fundamental skills to do with the advocacy role. I'm going to leave you with an idea that different people need different advocates. So at times, you need to be really, really adaptable and flexible and responsive in order to meet those needs. I've worked with people who on one day need me to be really, really quiet. They need me to sit next to them. They need me to appreciate their perspective. They need me to offer reassurances that what they're saying is valid and really important. But ultimately, what they need is for me to bring some presence and quiet. The same person a month later wants me to be really gobby, feisty, and almost like shouty to say things aren't right. And I share this because the skill of the advocate is to know which to be and which to bring on the day. By using these skills of listening, appreciating, thinking about speaking up, challenging, and supported decision making, by thinking about these skills, you're going to be more likely to know quicker what the person wants you to be on that day. So good luck in using these skills.